Welcome to PulsChat. EGD and Sick Critic News. Join in! How's it going, guys? Welcome to our third Pulse Chat. Our topics this time are a little more loose, I guess we should say. They're definitely more fun than just like the standard, guessing about different games and all that jazz. So whatever. Either way, let's get started. So our first topic is literally like top game villains. It's funny because it's not really one that I've ever thought too much about. To be really honest.
What? Why not?
Oh, you know you have.
Dude.
You know you have.
Well,
Okay.
like games, there are some game villains that are just extremely badass, and like I don't know.
Can I take a guess of what Andy's might be?
It's not Dr. Eggman.
Oh,
Man,
come
I was
on.
gonna say, no, Devin, don't even feel bad because that was gonna be my guess.
I would not do Dr. Eggman. I'm a Sonic fan, but Dr. Eggman's got to be the most pathetic villain out there.
It was worth the guess.
Never. Just
Shot in the
Man,
dark.
he was my villain, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god. Obviously, guys, we're joined by Sick Critic. We got our two awesome people from Sick Critic, Fraley Noodle Soup. And
What up, though?
And we got Devin. And we are joined
What's up?
by Little Will, which is actually a new Sick Critic member, which is kind of awesome. So you guys are going to be hearing from him quite a bit, whether it's with Sick Critic in the Pulse Chat or with me on Anime Mondays. But yeah, either way. So I'm not gonna start with this one. I want the person that proposed this one, Fraley Noodle Soup. You name some of your favorite villains. Try to do five, and let's see how that goes.
Do five?
Do
Fuck,
five.
I'm gonna be trying to think of this off the top of my head.
Can you count that high, David?
One.
We could do one. We could do
Four.
one each until we're at five.
Yeah, let's do that because
Yeah,
that way
okay.
it kind of gives me like a chance to think of some other ones. No, one that's definitely off the top of my head that I can think of right off the bat is Pagan Min from Far Cry 4.
Okay, that's
Like-
the main guy, obviously, right?
Yeah, that's the main bad guy. Like I haven't played Far Cry 4. Like I started playing it probably a couple weeks ago, and I mean, right from the get-go, that dude just shows that he is somebody you do not want to mess with. Like I was actually talking to a couple guys at work about this because I was like, oh, like what are some favorite bad guys and like why do you hate them? We got talking about like Darth Vader and other stuff from Star Wars, and I said like if they would have showed Rogue One at before episodes 4, 5, and 6. I would have feared the shit out of Darth Vader because, for spoilers who haven't watched it, right at the end of Rogue One, Darth Vader comes like on, and he's like going after some dude, and he's just like force choking people, throwing them to the ceiling, stabbing them. Like he is just on a fucking ruthless rampage. And I'm like sitting in the theater like going, Jesus, like this guy scares the shit out of me. And it was kind of the same thing with Pagan Min. Like right in the start of Far Cry 4, he gets off this helicopter after there was like a huge issue that happened after like this bus stop. And it was just a case of he comes off and one of his guys is like, oh, things went out of hand. And he like just pulls this little knife out of his pocket, stabs the dude in his neck, like lifts him up off the ground onto the floor and just starts stabbing the shit out of him, saying like, I hate when shit gets out of hand and everything. And I'm just like, oh my God, like this guy scares the crap out of me. Like I don't want to freak this guy out.
Yeah, basically because something went wrong. And
I know, but
he
it was
doesn't
like
that.
it was just really it was a real ruthless entrance to a video game. It was just like, oh my God, like I can't believe that just happened. I wasn't expecting it at all.
Well, this gives me
Kinda
the
caught me off guard.
chance. This gives me the chance to see what kind of person you are. Did you, when you got back to the house, did you wait, like he asked you to, or did you get up and leave?
I definitely got up and left.
You know that game is another ending, right?
No.
If you if you wait for him, if he literally says wait right here, and he's not mean about it. He tells you to wait right there. If you choose to wait, he'll actually do exactly what you went there for and exactly what he said he was going to do. You both get up, you go sit in a helicopter, you go over to your mother's grave, and you just dump the ashes, and then that's where the game ends.
What?
And then he takes you home to eat some food because he's actually your father.
What?
Yep.
Mind blown.
Dude, no, seriously, like, mine definitely is kind of blown. I didn't,
start the
I was
game
just
up
like,
again.
I don't know what to do, so I'm like, I'm just gonna escape, and then that's when you meet the one guy at the, after you see the one other guy get interrogated, and all right, well now I'm gonna have to go back and just watch that because I'm very intrigued now.
That's why I'm thinking maybe Far Cry 5 had something like that, because right at the beginning when he says cuff me, and you get the option to cuff him, I cuffed him anyway, but I hesitated. But I feel like if you didn't cuff him, the outcome would have been completely different.
There's an alternate ending to it if you don't cuff him.
I figured so, because like
now I gotta do that too.
Yeah, and I need to see it myself because I figured there would be some type of alternate ending.
It's kind of anti-climactic. I mean, it's just basically. I mean, I won't tell you unless you want to.
Yeah, don't tell me because I'm gonna look at it after this is over.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
it's do it after this is over.
Well, you got to start a new game and lose all your progress.
I'll do it on a different.
No, I'll just create another.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I have like 3 profiles on my system.
Yeah, I'll just use my brother's.
Yeah, I'll just use Rebecca's and ruin hers. But yeah, so you choose that guy to be your villain. Okay. He's pretty up there in most irritating people to ever deal with in any video game. So I'll give you that. I guess Will, what's one for you?
Oh well, I didn't have 5 prepared, so you're forcing me to defend Eggman's honor.
Oh, trust me, all of us didn't have 5 prepared, so you're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think Eggman, he's sort of like one of those rare villains that don't require any heavily padded backstory. Like his mom didn't die, and now he hates Sonic or whatever. I think like being light and goofy and fun is a good quality to a villain. It's almost lighthearted in a sense. Like it's reminding you, hey, you're still playing a video game. No need to get serious. No need to like. Not all video games have to be life or death. Not all video games have to have like a death grip on you. And I think Eggman sort of represents that. And like we said earlier, Eggman sort of always fails, and like specifically like in the Sonic Adventure games, he always finds himself on Sonic's side. So I think he's like absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, with what you said, I definitely agree with Eggman. The fact that since it's not always a heavy tone, although there are times, hilariously enough, he does something that is completely awful. But since the game's tone isn't that dark, it's like really hidden in there. So I guess I can agree with that, because you get the guy that's terrifying to deal with, and then the guy that you enjoy him being evil.
Yeah. I remember he beat that solid ice with his bare hands, and I was like, wow. Okay.
Savage.
So, what is
much
one of yours, David?
David?
David's an
No,
asshole.
Devin.
I didn't want to say David. Screw it. You guys too many D's in here.
I mean, I would go with one that's probably pretty high up on my list would probably be Albert Wesker from Resident Evil.
Okay.
I mean, just as far as like top villains, I'd say he's probably like up there for me, just because being the leader of STARS with Resident Evil and the Mansion incident, and basically later on in the series, like I think it was RE5, he's pretty much ready to kill the people he was working with in Resident Evil 1. Pretty evil dude. I don't know. I had a lot of fun trying to kill him in RE5, so I would say he's probably one of my top villains.
Okay.
Took a shitload to kill him, though. Or stop him, anyway.
And he, yeah, okay. Sorry, I just had to think about everything he's done, because, like...
Yeah, it's like a ton of backstory. I mean, he was from the original Resident Evil all the way to RE5. So I mean, you're talking too much to really dive into unless you really wanted to. But...
Yeah, because his sister is kind of the person I remember more than him. Yes, he
Yeah.
has a sister. I just remember shit. I'm having a hard time remembering anything Wesker did at the moment, although I do remember he was a douchebag. Oh well. Wesker is pretty bad though, regardless, because he's the reason why just about everything happens in Resident
Everything
Evil, to be
goes
really
bad.
honest. Yeah.
Yep.
He's like Dr. Doom levels of douche.
It's been forever since I played RE5, though, to be honest with you, so...
I haven't played it in a while either.
Yeah, because he is... Resident Evil Revelations 2, he's talked about on there, but everything's like his sister, because everyone was thinking it was him, and then you find out, in fact, it's not him doing everything, and it's just this woman that's claiming to be his sister who's already mutated by the time you meet her. Revelations 2 is really good. Anybody that hasn't played it, definitely go play it. I like it. Play it with someone, preferably, though, because it's a much better experience. Like most games that are meant to be played multiplayer. Pulling that rabbit out of the hat again from last week.
Throwing shade.
I guess a villain that I would choose... I don't even know the guy's name. I don't know if he's a good idea to choose, but he is my first choice. I guess my fifth choice will probably be my overall best. But I would say it's if anybody played Resident Evil 7, it's the first hillbilly-ish guy, the one that
That's a good one, yeah.
come eat your Cocoa Puffs, boy.
He is God, scared the shit out of me. When
Yeah.
you're walking down the hallway and he just rams out, I'm like, what the hell?
Welcome to the family, son.
You can lead a
I
table,
love
boy. Oh, he got me. If you look at my Resident Evil 7 streams, he got me every time. Games don't normally scare me. I screamed a couple times, I will say. He got me. He got me good. Every single time I thought he was not there, then he comes out of nowhere. Where you going, boy? I'm like, oh, no!
I literally could not, like, I had a lot of trouble playing that game, like, by myself, like, in a room by myself. So, like, if my roommate was like, yeah, I'm gonna run out and get food, I'm like, okay, I might just pause Resident Evil till you get back, because I don't know if I can handle this dude right now. It's just too much.
Yeah.
He's
I like how he's...
What's up?
Oh, okay. I like how he's sort of like this impending threat. Like he's always going to be lurking there in the hall. It's like he's there to remind you, hey, like don't get comfortable because I will like burst through with my giant shovel thing, like wreck you, and, like break tables and stuff. Even though that's crazy, then I'm gonna blame it on you.
It kind of reminds me of like the Nemesis system though back in like the first Resident Evil when he was always like lurking and like you had to like get away from him on the map. So I thought that was like a cool kind of throwback to original Resident Evil. So I hadn't seen that in a while, which I thoroughly enjoyed and almost cried.
Well, so let's be honest. Is there ever a point in any of the Resident Evil games where you feel comfortable?
All of them, just
I mean,
almost.
I'm pretty much putting a death grip on my controller every time I play one of those games because I'm just like, especially like, I haven't played 4 all the way through. I haven't played 5 all the way through. You can send your hate mail to.
Well, send your hate mail. Well, 4, 5, 6, and Revelations 1 and 2, I didn't see as scary in any form. They were just really fun action games.
I haven't played 7 either, so.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, those didn't really scare me. This last one scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, the last one that came out is more like a Silent Hill video game. So, Silent Hill games all have that same tone.
Some horror games have like trouble holding that sense of tension, and I think Resident Evil 7 is definitely one of those games that doesn't have a struggle with that. So.
Oh no! Well, because I've even heard like it's scary as shit just doing it like if you're just staring at a TV or whatever. But then it's like 10 times worse when you're playing it in VR.
I couldn't imagine.
I
wouldn't do it. I don't think I'd do it.
Oh my god, it is way worse than VR.
I've heard of people playing it in VR and they like legitimately had to take the headset off and go do something because it scared them that bad. I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, honestly,
you ain't getting me to do that.
Yeah, playing it in VR, what makes that worse is the fact that you can't pull away because it's on your face. The fact that sometimes, depending on the person, VR makes you nauseous, so you'll get so scared that you'll just puke and everything. So it's like, VR gets you on that game. It definitely does.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games where they did the most to sort of create an environment where you feel like you're definitely there even without the VR. So, oh god, it must be super surreal with the VR on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason why I chose that guy as my, I guess, top villain, it's not because of the fact that he's incredibly evil, or the fact that he won't die when you kill him a few times, which is really irritating. It's just the fact that he's pure to the heart, trying to get you to do something very specific, and you're not doing it, so he's forcing it on you. Like, he cuts your hand off, for example, and then he puts it back on you, which is a prime example there. And there's just... No, actually, matter of fact, you put your own damn hand back on. This character's a badass.
Yeah.
I think your wife cut your hand off.
Yeah. Damn, I'm having a hard
Oh
time
yeah,
thinking.
that part. God, I was so sick of her, like chasing me with that damn chainsaw. I was like, how do I kill her? Like I cannot figure this out. That was awful.
She was all like, "I love you," and I was like, "I hate you."
Yeah, right. No, stay away.
Flashbacks
Yeah.
from my ex-girlfriend.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, I love my hand, but apparently you don't like that I love my hand.
Yeah, I didn't like her the entire time. Like, I didn't like her the entire time. That whole stream, I was trying to kill her, even when there was nothing wrong. Like, so.
My God, I wish I could just beat you with this Coca-Cola can.
It's like, hey, I'm halfway through the game. I got a flamethrower. He's like, where's that bitch?
Yeah, right. Okay, so I guess we are starting back. Everybody put their first villains out.
Yes.
All right, so we're going back to you,
Now-
Roger Craig Smith.
And
Maybe we
here's-
should do like 3 instead of 5.
Well, no.
Okay.
No, hold on, because this is what I was gonna do. Is instead of doing like the main bad guy in every, because I'm even sitting here going like, shit, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick 5. Even just picking like somebody that was evil, like, you know, like for me, like I'm literally gonna say the big daddies in BioShock. Those guys scared the shit out of me. And they were just these giant, menacing, like, bullet sponge dudes that just, every time you came across when you were like, shit, I'm about to be in for it, I'm about to be looking for some ammo after I'm done. Because it's going to be crazy. And, like, I remember, and tell me if you guys remember this too, back when BioShock was first coming out for Xbox 360, they showed this, like, trailer where it was all in first person. And you were, like, obviously the main character guy, and you're, you know, trying to go after the little sister. And like you're trying to fight this big daddy and he's just tearing you to bits until the very end where like you go to do something, you're like holding her off the side of the edge or whatever, and all of a sudden you just hear this like a drill going, and your dude just looks down and there's just this drill bit going straight through his stomach.
I forgot about that.
Dude, I like that freaked me out. When I first saw that, and mind you, like I was super young when it happened, I was like, I'm never going to be able to play this game. It's so violent. And then I played it. I'm like, this is the best game I've ever played. Like,
I can only remember the noises he was making.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, seriously, well, yeah. What else do you expect him to make when he's getting drilled from the back end? Like, he's like, oh, that wasn't
He's
there
like
before.
frantically grabbing at it like it's like he could pull it out or something. Oh, man.
Yeah, just like, what movie is that where, like, the dude stabs him and he, like, just brings him closer?
A lot of movies. John Wick?
No, there was... God, I can't think of the freaking movie where it was like... I think it was like The Mummy or it was something, but like he like goes to stab him and the dude like looks down and he's got like this katana sword through him and then he like grabs the sword and starts pulling him closer and then the guy pulls it out and cuts off the head. I don't know, I can't remember the movie. But yeah, like coming across those big daddies, man, those things were... Every time they came across, I was kind of like, my tension just... I had like death grip on the controller. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one, because the big daddies are pretty bad. The little girls are just as scary, because if you see one of them, you know you need to run away, because Big Daddy's close.
Well, not to mention, I mean, they're kind of freaky looking. I mean, any little young child with glowing eyes, you need to be running in the opposite direction, man. That's some scary shit.
Especially if it's a girl.
Yeah.
Because little girls scare me more than anything.
Girls just in general. I mean,
You know,
we're gonna
cooties are-
generalize this. Just all females.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Oh, good thing it's 7% females subscribed to the channel. Or you would have
Woo!
some.
Sorry if I offended anybody.
Oh god.
Strap in, people. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
I guess so. Will, what is your second villain?
Okay, my second villain is Arden Izunia from Final Fantasy 15, and man, like I feel like he is
Spoilers.
like the best. He's like the best in like recent memory in terms of like Final Fantasy villains. It's like he does so much to like mess with the main character. It's like your friends, your wife, like your friends you've been talking to this whole time. You guys have the best relationship. He's pretty much tearing that apart, and he's mentally, you know, physically, psychologically ripping them apart, ripping you guys apart. And he kills your wife, all for revenge. And he's playing this all over a span of like 300 years. And I'm like, wow, that's dedication. And he's like a demon and stuff. It's so weird. And like he caused a war just to meet his own ends and stuff like that. Like I think that there needs to be at least a few more villains like Arden.
Is this Final Fantasy 15 you're talking about?
Yeah, 15.
Spoiler!
Oh god. 2 years.
Oh boy.
Spoiler.
Oh god. I didn't spoil anything too bad.
Nah, I know. It doesn't matter if she dies or not.
Yeah, she's not that.
She's really not that important. At least from where I am in the game, she's not. Oh boy. I don't know much about that villain. I don't even know if I've seen him, to be really honest. Because like they were like, oh, the game's gonna have multiplayer co-op, and they're like, maybe story co-op, and I'm like, oh, let me stop playing this so I can experience it with friends, just for them to not do that and just give it its own mode. So I missed out on playing the game because I waited. You know, fuck me, right? So I need to actually sit down and start playing it, like legitimately. I hate myself. Have you guys played Final Fantasy?
I have not. Like, dude, like I said, I've been so busy right now. Dropping into a game I'm having to put tons of hours into.
Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't touched
Yes,
it.
I think I'm on chapter like 11 because I stopped. I wanted to stop before I got to 13 because this was before, because I got it like right when it dropped. And so it was before they released the update that apparently fixed chapter 13. And I just never got back to it because, you know, being in our industry, there's so many freaking games that come out anymore. And I'm trying to like stay up to date with everything that it was like, okay, yeah, like I really like this game. I still have the disc over here. So I will eventually get back to it. It's just when things need to calm down, which I don't think I'm gonna have a chance anytime soon. Dude, I'm not even joking you, man. It's like before it was like, oh, like summer, you know, we can do whatever we need to do. And then we're like, oh, fuck, it's like November all year round.
Yeah, for real.
Like games are literally just coming out all the damn time. It's like it just this week you had Far Cry. Last week you had, Sea of Thieves, which talked about ad nauseum. But then it's like, you know, in just a couple more weeks, and you got God of War, and it's like, shit, I can't freaking keep up with it anymore, man.
Trust me, I cannot either. That's why I stopped streaming some things. I'm just like, forget it. I'm gonna play it on my own.
Seriously, like, yeah,
The third week in January was like
Disgusting.
3 AAA releases.
Yeah,
I was like,
Monster
wow.
Hunter, we got.
Yeah, that was. We had it like that last year too, though.
Mhm.
You know
crazy.
what? I heard a scream, and I thought it was coming from me until I checked my bank account and realized that.
It took me a minute. I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh."
Like seriously, like, man, I'm so glad I got that tax refund money back because it's like, whew, you gonna be good. You're gonna be getting put to some good use.
Oh my god.
Can't afford this shit. I'm gonna form a GoFundMe just so I can buy all these games.
Go
You
fund
are
me.
sad.
Hit my gaming edition.
I'm gonna start a Patreon if you guys want to watch me stream these, but you're also gonna help me buy them. So
If you guys want to watch me drink a glass of water for 20 minutes, the same glass of water, fund me. I will take
You want
so
to see
many
my feet?
sips. No,
Donate
it's
$1.
Dr. Pepper, by the way.
some Dr. Pepper. Anyway, Who was next?
I think me. I would say my next one, just because I'm a Gears of War fanboy.
Jesus Christ.
General Ram, dude. I mean, just because. Okay.
It was bad.
When he kills
I
Lieutenant Kim, dude, I was like, you mother. Like, I wanted to kill him so bad. You know, and he's like always fucking up your boys, like always, like causing problems.
That's true.
Throughout the entire series, so it's just like
he's another one of those characters where it's like he did stuff to legitimately make you fear him, and every time you're just like, man, this dude's coming into the picture. He's about to do something that's just savage as fuck right now.
okay. You've all played the original Gears, right? Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How freaked out were you when the Berserker first broke through the wall that very first time you ever saw it?
I cried.
I was like,
a little bit inside. Like, I screamed, and well, because I was over at my buddy's house when it happened, because I didn't have the game just yet. So I'm over at his house. He's like, "Oh, dude," he goes, "You got to play this game." So I'm playing it, and he had me. I stayed there all night over at his house and the whole thing. And so the minute that happened, I literally was like, "Ah!" I'm like, "What do I do?" And he's going,
What do I
I'm like, "Well, fucker, where do you want me to run? I don't know. This thing's chasing me. I can't shoot it. Like, help me."
I don't think I caught that. You were like, what?
Oh, you want me to do the stream again?
Yeah, you were like, what?
I was like, "Ah!"
He was like, what fucking god.
But yeah, that would be my next villain, just because. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck around.
That's actually a pretty good villain because that thing
I
was
was
really
gonna say that's
irritating.
solid.
What's up?
That's solid.
Well, my next villain is a pretty left of the field villain that I don't think anyone but Will might be able to understand.
Bowser.
No, worse than Bowser. Probably the worst game villain out of every game villain you can possibly imagine. Fucking Tom Nook.
Oh man, the Crook. Yeah, I hate
Tom
him.
Nook, man. Tom
Nook the Crook.
He charges you for everything you do, whether it's for or without permission. Like, no joke. The fact that Tom Nook, he will break into your house.
What?
For Christ's sake. Yes.
Yeah,
He will break into your house and make some type of renovation to your house if you don't do it for a while, and then be like, by the way, you owe me money.
Yeah.
Also, Tom Nook, he robs you blind with a bunch of upgrades for your living conditions. He is actually the reason why your town goes to shit, so you pay him to make it better. Also, on Animal Crossing New Leaf, you actually get the option to not deal with Tom Nook. So you live inside of a tent. Then eventually, Tom Nook starts charging you for being on that land.
Can I make an observation here?
What?
Tom Nook is starting to sound a little bit like EA.
Nintendo's commentary on EA.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
Oh,
just be
man.
honest here. I mean, EA just kind of comes in and rearranges shit, and we don't really ask for it, and then they steal stuff from us, and we're like, all right.
And now you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't really have a choice in this matter.
Yeah,
He's
Tom
like,
Nook
oh,
is
we're
terrible.
gonna
I just,
buy
you
this
know,
stuff. We're
Just
gonna
thought
charge
I'd
you for
throw
this
it out
stuff
there.
you might need, and then they're like, well, what if we don't buy it? It's like, okay, we'll sell the rest of the game to you that you already paid for. Ha.
We're gonna give you something. Well, what if I don't want it? Well, what if we told you you didn't have a choice? Well, do I have to pay for it? Of course you do. Well, do I have a choice now? Nope, we already have your money. Oh shit.
Screw EA.
Hey,
I
yeah.
love EA.
Oh my God.
Said nobody ever.
Said no.
Alright, I guess for our last set of villains. What you
Oh
got,
shit.
Frank, right?
Go.
Dun dun dun.
Rip.
You know, I think I am going to pick.
Devin.
Yes, Devin, the most evil thing outside of a video game that I've ever seen. No, I'm actually gonna go with the Wild Hunt from The Witcher 3. And I'm just
Oh,
picking
okay.
them as a whole, just because you did actually have to fight all of them. Those guys were frightening, like, playing that. Like, there were a couple times where, like, and especially, like, even, like, the end boss, which it was kind of underwhelming just because you know, you're just sitting there fighting him. But it's like every time they appeared, I was like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna have to fight somebody? You know, yeah, they were kind of a frightening group, you know, and not to mention, I mean, they just look menacing as shit, anyways. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not a bad one.
Yeah.
I can't relate.
Conglomerate.
I have nothing to say on that one because I haven't gotten through The Witcher 3 like to anywhere.
Why? What is
because I'm
why?
a terrible person. That's why.
Okay, let me tell you this. Okay, I'm gonna stand on my soapbox a little bit here. So, you need to play that game. Like I don't. Okay, I am like probably one of the biggest advocates for that game. I have a buddy at work that all he does is play freaking Forza Motorsport games, and I'm talking like to an obsessive point. Plays Forza Motorsport. He's like he already told me. He's like, dude. He goes, I think I've played and beaten like every race. I've raced on every track like 500 times. He goes, I think I've almost got it 100%. And I'm like, bro, before freaking Horizon 4 comes out, put a couple, like 50 hours into The Witcher. Like, I'm not even joking you. So worth the time. I am going back and replaying it after I'm done with Far Cry 5, if there's time. Because it's that good.
I'll add it to my actually incredibly tiny list of games that I'm recommended that I don't like turn on right away. Because I know you guys said Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm sure you realize I actually bought it. I bought it a couple weeks ago, the complete edition, just because you guys are so.
I know, like some people. Yeah, I know some people are like, you know, it's okay, but like, I don't knock it till you try it. You know.
No, Horizon Zero Dawn, great game. Like one of the best as far as storytelling, especially from a group that did first-person shooters to begin with. But I will tell you, Witcher 3 kills freaking Horizon Zero Dawn.
Well, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Just better overall storytelling. Every update that they did for that game over the lifespan of it, and like I said, I mean, people are literally labeling it as the best RPG of all time, which is saying something considering they didn't have a whole lot of experience. Like, it was their third game, really, and I mean, you're literally saying that it's knocking out the RPG catalog of Final Fantasy and everything. Like, that's how good of a game this is.
Yeah, I need to get to playing Witcher. It's just more the fact that I have work, which, you know, Matt can vouch for me. I haven't really been there as often as I need to because I've been doing everything with the channel. I've been dealing with school. I've been dealing with some home crisis as well. So I haven't really been playing games as much as I would like to. Like, today is my first time back on the channel doing something in a while. So I am definitely going to need to sit down. I think, like, the most time I've given to a game was sitting down with Far Cry 5 and getting through the first cutscene and then shooting someone with an arrow. And I think that was about an hour and a half. Oh, and playing The Way Out, like, before I went on that freaking 21-hour car drive or 16-hour. So it's like, I haven't been able to dabble in some games lately, but I definitely plan on it once I get some legitimate free time. Especially The Witcher, because I've been wanting to play The Witcher. I got it for free when it came out. So it's like, I just never sat down to do it. The most I did was mod the game, so.
I can't recommend that game enough. Like, I literally can't. Like, and I've already told the developers, because I follow CD Projekt Red and everything, and I said, the minute you guys drop Cyberpunk 2077, like, you guys already have my money. I will buy the Ultimate Deluxe Edition. If it's $100, it's $100. Like, I don't even care because
$100.
I know.
Wow, you're not very dedicated, huh? Try my God.
I spent $100 on Far Cry 5.
Try my God of War Collector's Edition. It's coming up. That's $170, and I'm doing that. Painful.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I told him, I was like, man, you guys already have my money. Like, I don't even care. Like, it's, yeah.
Okay.
So
I guess, Will, what is your last villain?
Well, since this is, you know, the last one, I think I'll go with the man that doesn't need introduction. Is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
He has one of my favorite weapons in like gaming. It's like a 20-foot.
Yeah, it's like a weapon
sword.
that's damn long.
Yeah.
So I think overall he has a very cool aesthetic, and like the whole backstory is pretty cool. I think he even holds up as a villain today, which is really impressive
does.
considering how old that game is.
Top villains in Japan still, and have been for the last 20 years, is still Sephiroth and Frieza. Frieza and Sephiroth are still the top villains in Japan. So yeah, and
I know a lot of people think he's just overrated, but I don't care. I love that man.
Like that theme song. Oh yeah, it's perfect for a villain. You know.
I wouldn't say Sephiroth is overrated, because when you look into the backstory, he was a Shinra member. He dealt with everything Cloud and the rest of them were dealing with. They were actually on the same team. And the fact that he turned out the way he did was based on some views that he had in the organization that he was working for. So, at the same time, I don't know if I can really say he's necessarily a villain, but at the same time, he is against the main character. Because you really have to think about the... What's up?
Right, he's like a tragic hero pretty much, and yeah, I think you were gonna get to that.
Yeah, basically.
Where he is put in a very antagonistic role. And I think that's like what I love so much about him. He was supposed to be the good guy, you know. He was supposed to be like the person, like he did everything everyone told him to, and it's funny because he feels like he's there to save everyone by destroying them. So I guess that aspect can be kind of like outplayed, but still I think he takes it all in stride. Yeah, I guess. He takes it all in stride in a way that other villains don't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a really good one, because I thought about Sephiroth. I'm like, nah, I won't do that one. But after you explaining it, definitely makes more sense, because it made me think about his past, and then more of the fact that, you know, if you really think about it, in most situations with villains, are they really the bad guy sometimes? If you really think about it. Because it's like, his reasons are pretty just, and that world sucks ass. And even after Sephiroth was beaten, that world didn't get any better. In any form. It actually stayed bad. It actually got worse. So it's like, him doing anything he was doing, is that really that bad? So that's something you have to think about with some villains, to be really honest. Like, whether they really are bad or not. And that brings me back to Far Cry 4. I don't really see that villain on there as really a bad guy. Because, like, everybody's saying these things about the character, but it's because they don't... I'm not gonna say people should conform. It's not like in Star Wars with what the fucking Republic are doing, you know, because they are truly fucking terrible people. But in Kyrat, if I can remember straight, there really wasn't too much that was bad that he was doing. I might have to go back and play that game or be enlightened by Fraley, because Fraley played it more recently than I have.
Also, he is glorious in Final Fantasy Dissidia with his long flowing hair and even longer sword. So yeah, and his voice actor George Newbern. Good lord, I love his voice actor.
I will bring your despair.
Can I just say something here too?
Despair.
What's up, Grandma?
I think in the case of like Sephiroth and Pagan Min and everything, I think the real villains here are the parents. Let's be honest, because obviously they raised these little assholes, and I'm just saying, I think they could have done something a little different with their parenting techniques. To where, this guy...
Where did this dive into parenting? What is this?
Let's be real, though. I don't think the Far Cry guy really had parents.
I mean, you know? Did you check his Wikipedia?
He
might
kind
have
of mentioned his past a little bit.
Just saying, I think we can blame the parents on this one. I think it's safe.
And it's anime. He most likely didn't have a mom or dad because one of them died doing something.
Well, that
doesn't mean he doesn't have them.
But see, most anime characters don't have parents. If you really,
he wasn't like bred in captivity or something. You know?
I mean, he might have been living with his aunt because his mom and dad burned in a tragic fire. Like, come on, think about it. With anime, name 5 anime characters that still have their parents.
Ash Ketchum. With his mom.
He has a mom.
We've already discussed that anything Pokemon related does not count in this type of scenario.
And all he has is a mom.
That is a good point. Hey, he's got Professor Oak. That's a dad. Okay, that counts.
Well, yeah, clearly until that one professor comes by. Anyway, Kukui, just smashing Kukui. No, Edward Elric, no parents. Goku, no parents. Luffy. No parents. His brother's not even really his brother. I was pissed when I found that off. Sonic, he doesn't count, but no parents.
Sonic's a fucking hedgehog.
And still, his parents don't matter unless you look in one universe, and she still left his ass.
Okay, one of his parents was probably a Smurf, and the other one was probably
A rat.
was like probably a porcupine. All right, and then they came together in perfect harmony, and they got Sonic. Okay.
Kirito, no parents. I don't care if his mom's away for the holiday, which is like apparently forever. Still no parents.
Yeah.
It's like anime characters don't typically have like main parents. So when you look at Sephiroth, the first thing I think is he has no parents.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, he does. He has like a false set of parents, and then he thinks Genova is his mom and stuff.
See, no parents.
It's crazy. They actually tie into his parents. Actually tie into his insanity. So.
Yeah, I
don't
forgot
know.
about the Genova thing, to be very honest. The Genova cells.
Yeah.
Well, I guess moving on to our friend over here. What is your next one? Other D.
I'm just gonna go kind of like off of the basis of kind of what Fraley went, because he got me thinking there. How he went with
Parents.
What? No. I was gonna go with the Flood off of Halo, just because they're parasites, you know, taking over all life forms, trying to kill everybody. They're annoying, and you always want to kill them. So,
well, not to mention like how like freaked out were you when you have like so many of them coming at you? At once?
I mean,
and the fact that they can like bring shit back to life, like. I remember shooting this dude. He died, and now he's like back to life, coming at me again. You know.
Yeah, when I do the Flood parts of Halo back in the day with Halo 3, I would literally just kill anything that moved if I was playing by myself because I didn't want to deal with the Flood.
No, forget Halo 3. How about in Halo 1 when they first get introduced and you're going down into like that Architects area, and then you're like trying to run out while they're freaking chasing you behind. Yeah, no, that freaked me out.
Don't kill me, because actually. Fuck you for starters, because this is normally an answer you give, and now I am able to give it. And this is a game that you guys have actually been able, because you've been trying to figure out for a while what is something I don't own or haven't played. Halo 1 and 2. I've played every Halo game past 2, but Halo 1 and 2 I have not actually sat down and played. I streamed a little bit of 1 with Rebecca, and that's about as far as I got with Halo 1 and 2.
Hold on.
But I never played their story modes.
Andy. You have the Master Chief Collection, correct?
Yeah, I even have the originals for the Xbox.
Okay. I will literally go through all of Halo 2 with you, because that is one of my top favorite games. I've beaten that on.
You have an Xbox One?
Yes. You added me as a friend.
Oh. No. You added me as a friend, and I accepted it.
Whatever. Either way, come on.
Why does that matter? You're getting into business now.
Wait.
So I will literally co-op that with you. The entire thing. I'm saying on stream, I will do that.
Wait,
because
Devin, do you have Halo? Master Chief Collection? Or an Xbox?
He doesn't have an Xbox.
Okay, Fraley Noodle Soup then. You and I will go through Halo 2. Rebecca and I will continue to go through Halo 1, and when we get to Halo 3 and 4, we should all 4 play.
Dude, I'm down.
And Halo 5, if you have it.
I will play the shit out of those games.
Do you have 5,
I've beaten
unfortunately?
Of course I have 5.
Alright, so we will go through the entire Halo series together.
Dude, I have all the Halos. I've beaten every Halo imaginable.
So you have
except for
ODST and
Halo
Reach?
Wars. I don't have ODST, but I've beaten
Shame
it.
on you, that was my favorite one. That one
ODST was your favorite one?
Had the best story, in my opinion, the way it was done. Like, it was just this
really
big,
well
open,
written.
destroyed world that you're just wandering in, trying to figure out where your crew, your friends, and what your actual mission was. You're going around picking up audio logs, and no, I was all about Halo Reach. I mean, Halo ODST, the way they did that one.
Yeah, they did that one really well. I was thoroughly impressed, because at first it was like when they sat back and they were like, "Oh, we're creating another Halo game," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "But it doesn't have Master Chief," and I was like, "Oh." And then I was like, you know what? I love Halo. I've beaten 1, 2, and 3. Let's give it a shot. And when I played that, and when I played Reach, I was like, wow, like these are really good games. Like this is a great way for the original Bungie to kind of go out with a bang. So
Okay.
yes, but you say the word, dude. I will play Halo 2 with you. Like, it is installed on my Xbox. I'm fired up and ready to go.
But Friday will be the word.
Friday? I can do it Friday.
Let's do it Friday. We got this.
All right.
Friday it is.
When Friday?
I don't know. When are you off work?
I actually have that off.
Good. Then early.
All right.
We'll give it a whole day. We'll beat it in one sitting.
All right.
It'll be nasty. Can you
Dude,
handle
I'm
it,
down.
man?
Dude, I would beat the whole game with you tonight. Like, after this is done.
Bounce
Oh
back.
my gosh.
Give me
Like,
one
I'll
good
speed
bounce
run
back
that
and I'll
bitch.
agree with you.
I'll
So-
speed run that bitch.
What's
All
your
right,
last villain, Andy?
My final villain is not one that many people would really know. Maybe Darkest Gamer might know it. But his name is Ekran. He's from Star Wars: The Old Republic. I would definitely recommend you guys look at those cutscenes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
One of the twins.
I don't.
Mhm.
Yeah, my God, is their story really upsetting me?
Yeah, it really is. Like that one, I didn't get all the way through it, but oh, wait, are we talking about like original SOTOR or like
We're
the
talking
newer
about
SOTOR?
MMO KOTOR.
Yeah, okay.
Which takes place before original, I think. It's either before or after, I can't remember. But either way, this character, with his twin brother, there's videos of this too. You guys can actually watch it. It's beautiful cinematic. Probably some of the best you could find out there, to be honest. Best Star Wars content you can find is just watching Old Republic cutscenes. And it starts off with these two twins. They're training together, working hard. One twin is a little bit better than the other. And their father shames both of them. He doesn't care that one is actually better than the other. He only cares about the fact that they're not very good. So they're always fighting. They're keeping each other going. They are the two that drive each other to be the best. They end up going into war a little bit later with each other, and one gets injured severely, and that's where his road to the dark side starts. He has to get mechanic parts. Half his face is completely covered up for that reason because he has some damaged face. But they watch some people die. They get upset about some things that are happening. He thinks his brother died, and he goes on a rampage. Second start into the dark side. After that, they start fighting. They start fighting this other person. He actually kills that person in shame and anger and fear, and they both escape where they are. But his brother consoles him in that, basically letting him know it's okay that you did that, which was not good. Turned him even closer to the dark side. They get in front of their father. He tries to convince his father of something, and it is not working, and the other brother gets pissed the fuck off. So he runs up to kill his own dad. His brother stops, and they start fighting, and he kills him. And his dad congratulates him for killing his brother. And both show that his father was actually a part of the dark side of the Force the entire time. And that shit was dark to me.
Yeah, that original trailer is pretty. It's gripping, dude. It's like that's some like deep stuff. If you watch it, if you haven't, I would definitely recommend looking at it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's all connected. Every single trailer is connected because you see those kids and a couple other trailers too with this girl who, oh my god, that whole thing is messed up because that girl, even because she is being run by that father, she left her child with them, and she ended up turning to the dark side. She went back to get her daughter and had to fight her. Like, that whole scenario there was fucked. And that's why I choose that person as my, I guess, worst villain, honestly, because that was actually a very gripping moment. You have this guy that's, like, literally turning their children against each other and against their own parents, just so you can have a personal gain in whatever you're doing. Because this is the Old Republic, so the war, the Clone Wars and stuff, that's way later. This is stuff that's happening before all of that's even thought of in a totally different galaxy. So their drive and motives are completely different, and it kind of makes you wonder why they're even doing it at all. Like, is it for control? Is it to expand your own kingdom? Like, it just leaves you wondering, and so that's why the mystery of those characters is what makes me see them as the top villains, because I never know what their drive is. But yeah.
I would say so. That's a good one.
But,
Oh, it's getting hot in here. I'm taking off this.
taking off your clothes.
No, this.
Hey man, they start throwing some more donations, you know.
He starts drinking.
One way to get it.
Yeah.
So, What do we got next there, Andy?
Controversial games. This one's going to be a short one because there haven't been too many lately. I know one is Far Cry 5. That one was ridiculously controversial since the first time they showed off a trailer for it. Because
now I know there was a big uproar as far as like, Christians were concerned with the whole. See, I haven't played it yet, so I haven't dug real deep into it. And I don't know how touchy they get, but from what I've seen, some people were in a big uproar about it. So.
Mm-hmm. Basically, in a nutshell, from where I am in the game right now, because Fraley Noodle Soup is actually much further than I am. But it's basically, in a nutshell, you're dealing with a crazy American. There's no crazy American. There's no other way of saying that, and I'm not even gonna throw race in there because you kind of already know anyway. It's messed up. He has his own. He is overthrown and taken his own legit city, I guess. I forget the scale of how big this place is. They care a lot about their god, about their guns, and shit. I mean, there's not much I can say without it becoming really, really racist and toxic. And that's why it was so controversial when it first came out, because to be really honest, there's really no way of saying this without being... I know. What brought up the topic of why it was so controversial is the fact that the characters were white Americans who were obsessed with their guns, obsessed with their religion, carving sinner and stuff on the backs of people, and they were Southern, basically, predominantly Southern, and it took place in America. And then the fact that in the picture and promotional art for the game, they're sitting at a table, like, the whole long table that Jesus and everyone else sat at. And that's what really got people's attention. Because the first thing that guy says to you on the game, the first thing you hear when you walk into that church is they're here to take our guns. And then he says everything else that he says. And it's kind of an eye-opener. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played it. So, I mean... From what you're saying, it's pretty blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
How much they go into. I guess my question would be, because I know that, political, and I don't know how to word this. I don't want to say agenda, but political influence has always been a major part of video games. How the world is kind of behaving at, whatever time definitely makes its way into video games, because video games is an art style regardless of what people say or think. So that's going to obviously influence that. So, I mean, do you think that's obviously more of a, a thing that the developers were doing to kind of represent what's going on in America today, or do you think that was just, part of a storyline that came up?
That's where it's hard to say. Nobody knows, nor did they come out and actually say. Because when you turn the game on, it does give a pretty lengthy message that you can only see for a couple seconds that no human being could possibly read fast enough. Basically saying that everything is coincidental. What makes it worse is the fact that the game is, it's Ubisoft and they're French. So this is from the outside looking in, the developers of that one. It's from the outside looking in. So that's the way they see us, to be very honest, if you really think about it. But yeah.
And I haven't played it either, but yeah, like Devin said, video games are to an extent an art style, and like I guess political influence does really make its way into just various forms of media in general. But maybe people just maybe this has, I don't know, a higher concentration of it. I'm not sure, but I'm glad they leave it ambiguous, because like they know how maybe when they were developing it, they didn't know that we would be so sensitive at this point in time. But I don't know.
They have to be sensitive. They're always sensitive.
Yeah.
That's just today's age. Everyone's sensitive. So
I will say, from the, and I've been maybe 5 hours into this game, like I haven't even actually gotten to a point where I can face like the first boss. pretty much what it is it is literally just like the two things that most people avoid talking about pretty much at all times, which is religion and politics. It's very obvious about the politics, like they even changed the way that the flag looks, you know, that there's no more of those of our white stars. They've got their own little emblems that, you know, look like the stars. And it's the whole premise pretty much is this religious cult. And apparently they have this prophecy set in place where they were literally just waiting for somebody to come by and kick up some dust so that they can, you know, initialize this entire thing. And that's literally what you're spending the entire time doing, is you're trying to take this cult out before, you know, something worse happens. At least that's what I've gathered from the game so far. I don't think they've really, again, and I've only put 5 hours into this or so, they haven't touched on race that I can see.
Oh, they're going to stay away from that one. It's just, it's more of the fact of what's going on in society now as far as the school shootings and stuff, and the people that are saying, leave my guns alone. And then it's those people you're seeing in the game with the exact same mannerisms. That's kind of what it is. It's self-explanatory in its own way. It doesn't have to be...
Yeah, and where it becomes borderline controversial is you paint, anytime you do something like this, you paint a broad brush. And assuming that Southern gun owners are in a religious cult and act like that, that's where people take offense.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And you know, I live in the South, you know, I do own a gun, but like, do I care about AR-15s? I would give it up in a heartbeat. Don't care about them. Stuff like that. So, I mean, those controversial topics, they're going to make their way into video games, and I tend to try to not think too much about it and, you know, dive into it, because it's going to happen either way about it. I was even reading, I think I was reading today that, don't they reference like Trump in there with like the whole Russia P-tape thing or something? Apparently that's like a mission in Far Cry 5. So like,
oh, wow.
Well, like it clearly alludes to it. It's not directly, like they're not going to come out and say anything, but it clearly alludes to that. So I think that's a very hot topic right now and across the world, whether it's Trump because he can't keep his mouth shut for 5 seconds and he's an idiot, and you know, other stuff surrounding that. So obviously it's going to make its way into video games. But I guess I just try to stay out of it as much as possible.
The best thing you can do, to be honest, is you'll get pulled into it, and it's not fun to get out. Once you
kind of hate that politics are so prevalent. Because usually when like someone tries to twist it into their political mindset, I'd say maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have a clue. I'm not that old. People would like dismiss it. They'd be like, okay, you're just making it what it shouldn't be. But today we're like looking at these and we're actually criticizing these things based on our own political agenda. I don't really like that whole mindset, but I
agree with that.
Yeah, but like I agree with you, and yeah, I try to avoid it. Like a movie by Marvel, Black Panther, that had a whole political controversy as well, and I try to see that sort of takes away my enjoyment when I have to ignore those idiots. But yeah,
I actually know someone that legitimately said Black Panther is a racist movie because there are no white people in it. It's like
that makes no sense. Like sometimes people just cannot accept a movie or a video game or whatever it be it for exactly what it is it being a story, and you know everyone's got to throw a label on something, and I don't know.
Well,
it's either on this side or this side now.
I don't even think it's so much about putting a label on something, but it's just a case of like, let me find something that's wrong with this. Like you guys were saying with Black Panther. Like I haven't seen Black Panther. I would really like to because I'm a huge Marvel fan. But it was like, yeah, like I heard the thing too about, oh, it's racist because there's no white people. I don't care. Like I don't know why that's such a big factor. I don't care if it was, you know, that doesn't bother me. It's like I want to watch it for the story and because it's a superhero that you don't like. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know about a Black Panther before, you know, this movie. No.
Huh. Yeah, it's Storm's
because it's just not one of the main ones. Like I'd heard of Iron Man, I've heard of Superman, I've heard of Thor, but it was like, you know, Black Panther was just kind of like you don't really hear too much about him. So I was like, okay, you know, but it's like I'm interested in that storyline, you know,
To be
and
fair,
how he becomes, you know, like an Avenger.
well, to be fair, he doesn't want to be known about, so you're good. he
That
literally has his
everything,
own
then.
nation hidden in the woods that he doesn't want anyone to know about. Well, didn't at the time, I guess. To
But-
the vibranium must take it. Who took my vibranium?
To not make
That,
this a political podcast, because there's plenty of them out there, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to even try to.
Well, no, we're too
upset
cool
it.
for that shit.
Yeah.
Emulate that, yeah.
I guess I have one other controversial game. If you guys come up with one, definitely mention it. Grand Theft Auto 5, if you guys remember when that came out.
Just Grand Theft Auto as a series.
Yeah, well, 5 took
Yeah.
the cake because they were showing body parts and everything that Trevor
yeah.
did, and the fact that
Yeah.
kids were getting a hold of it, and GameStop was getting in trouble. The ESRB was getting in trouble for rating it as M for mature and not like adult status. And
Yeah, I mean there's certain games that like okay, like I'm not a parent yet, but will I let my kid grab a hold of Grand Theft Auto when he's that young? Not a chance in hell. But did I get a hold of Grand Theft Auto when I was that age? Yeah. Yeah, you know, and then, like it'd be something like my parents didn't want me playing it, but my friend at school was like, "Hey, you ever play Grand Theft Auto?" I was like, "Nah." He was like, "You want to borrow it?" I was like, "Yes." Like, so I mean, it's pretty simple to get a hold of. So I mean, I just kind of want to, regardless of it being controversial or not, I just kind of want to bring up this topic, kind of what you think. Do you think they should change the ESRB guidelines and add another, you know, restriction there, maybe for games that should be at that adult level, and maybe you have to be,
doesn't
you know,
matter.
let's say 21 to buy it, or
It doesn't
well,
matter,
you
unfortunately.
don't think it will?
No,
No,
parents. As someone that worked as a GameStop manager for 5 years, I will tell you the parents don't give a shit. You can tell them everything that's wrong with this game. They are not going to care. The first thing they're going to look at there is say, you're getting good grades, or they're going to say, are you going to do this? Or, you know, they come up with a reason to allow their kid to play that game. So ESRB and any store associate, clerk, manager cannot do anything about it, unfortunately. They're just not, the ESRB cannot help an idiot parent. So just like what I was about to say, I mean, when I have kids and they have Grand Theft Auto 9 or 10 coming out, I mean, if they want to play it, I mean, no matter what, they're going to go to a friend's house and do it. I mean, I can't stop them. The most you can do as a parent, except for bitching about what your kids are playing, bitching about things happening in the world because of video games, monitor it. If you're going to give it to them anyway, monitor it. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like the part of
ahead,
the part of the reason it's only controversial now is like because GTA 5 obviously is like one of the best selling games ever, if not the best selling game ever, and like the fact that more coverage is just available from all sides. So I mean, like you said,
what, 70 million copies, something like that.
Yeah, about 70, 80. Yeah, I think it's more of a parental problem because, like, I think the ESRB is pretty standard, pretty simple. If you can read, you can understand the ratings and stuff. So yeah,
I think it's a case of just the parents in general. Like, and Andy, like you were saying, you know, like you can't help the fact if the parents are stupid, and if they're gonna just let their kids play these games, then that's where the problem starts. You know, you hear about it in the news all the time. You know, especially most recently with the Florida shooting, which, you know, my heart goes out to those people because it is a absolutely horrific event that happened. But, you know, if just for the sake of conversation, say that, yeah, okay, the dude played a ton of video games. We're blaming it on the video games. Yeah, and they said that he was an avid gamer and everything, but like say that like that was the main reason behind it, was that he was, you know, playing these video games. He got the idea from playing like Call of Duty or whatever to go and, you know, do the awful thing that he did.
Which doesn't even sound right, because why would you get the idea from a military shooter where you're doing the right thing?
I mean, okay, but in that case, think of it as, what was it, Modern Warfare 2, where, you know, again...
Yeah, that was one of the most highly controversial, you know, parts of the game ever. Are you talking about where they walk into the airport and just start shooting everybody up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the borderline probably worse things that could happen in a video game. So yeah, I get that. But
I understand, and it's one of those things, where it's like I understand that there's if you're using violence to help tell a story, that's one thing, but don't just put violence in a game for violence, Whereas, like, I honestly think that, yeah, you probably could have skipped that part in that Call of Duty game like that. Really, like, there was no other real part later on. Like, you could have done something totally different instead of playing, this undercover agent or whatever shooting up a freaking airport. Like, that was like, whoa. Like, I was astonished. I mean, I was of the age to play that, so I was like, okay, well, yeah, there's something graphic, but it's Call of Duty. You're going to shoot people either way. So I was like, oh, there's nothing that's going to be, like, super bad. And then all of a sudden I'm playing, I'm like, holy hell, like, I can't believe that this is in this game, But, like, even playing Far Cry 5, like, there's...
Yeah, that beginning part, even not much that even happened, was very chilling. That was some chilling shit.
And I'm not even saying necessarily like that, just other stuff that you come across in the world. Like, I came across, there was a mission that I was doing where there is a guy that's called the Cook that you have to kill. And he's like, I guess for lack of a better term, like a mini boss. And one of the ladies that, like, one of the hostages that you rescued in this area before you go see him says, hey, can you help me? Like, the Cook took my husband, and so you have following, and she's like, oh, I'm going to show you, where the Cook guy is, and she leads you right to sit in the flamethrower, and he's torching this dude. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, I can't believe, like, and even just in other parts of the game, like, you're walking around and you're seeing people that are like it kind of freaked me out. I was playing a little bit before we started doing this, and I walked into a house, and I'm just kind of like walking around, exploring, trying to see what other things I can pick up. And I see blood, like, dripping from the ceiling, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I looked up, and there's this dude who is, like, practically hog-tied to a chandelier, and he's got, like, barbed wire wrapped all around his core, and he's got his head covered with a bag, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, that, like, well,
that was pretty graphic right there. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, that's something that you don't forget, because it was just, like, it kind of, like, I jumped a little bit because I wasn't expecting to see that,
Yeah.
But it's, there's, I just...
Well, I mean, I understand violence in video games when it tells a story. If it draws me to the character, or if it's like a horror game, I understand that. I would agree with you that I kind of disagree with that airplane scene on a Call of Duty game. But if you start taking out violence in video games, you take out a core element of character development and things that, like The Last of Us. Could you imagine The Last of Us without violence?
Yeah, and that Last of Us thing they showed for E3, or the last trailer they dropped, was very controversial itself too, just because that person getting beaten and all that.
Well, and I thought, like, even watching that, like, I thought they were gonna do one of those things where they kind of allude to the violence, like they're letting you know, like, this is happening, but I didn't think they were actually gonna show it when they said, oh, clip her wings, and I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like, what does that mean? And then they took the hammer to her arm. I'm like, whoa, like, I can't believe that just actually got shown. Like, but it's like, I was listening to a interview with Neil Druckmann after he showed that, and he said, like, we wanted to have that type of impact for people, to let them know, like we wanted that type of reaction, and to let them know, like, that's part of the story, like, that, that there's that type of society or whatever in The Last of Us Part 2 that is that brutal, that, is that ruthless and everything. So it's like, and they, and again, even in playing The Last of Us, like, none of the violence that was in that was senseless, I guess, as far as, like, oh, like, we just decided to throw that in there for violence sake, like, that all pertained to part of the story, that was, like, it wasn't, like, something that just felt like it was out of place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah, and that developer came out and literally said, because some people outcried blah 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 children, blah blah blah, and the developer was like, "We're not making this game for kids," and that's where he did it. Because it's like, he's not. It's rated M for a reason. M for mature, you have to be 17 and up. So stop giving this to your ugly snaggatooth kid. Like,
well, and that's going back to my original argument, is the fact that it's like, and I personally, because of the fact that I am so into video games and I know so much about them and everything, like, I literally want to be that person that if somebody who has kids that doesn't know about video games, like, I want them to be able to come to me and be like, hey, like, have you heard about this video game? Like, is this something my kids should be playing? Or, you know, or can you tell me a little bit about the game? Because I don't know anything about it. I want to be that educated person that's, you know, in this industry that can sit back and tell them, like, hey, like, you probably shouldn't let your kid play this new Call of Duty game because there's a lot of violence. There, you know, you're able to start blowing off body parts now. Like, that's not something that your, you know, 13-year-old should be viewing. You know, I want to be that person, you know, like, I want to educate these people, because it's like, and I know there's a website that apparently they can go to now or whatever that you can, you know,
it's not good
get
enough.
Educated on video games or whatever.
Yeah, it all starts with the person that's selling you the game. Like, I've had people, and I kid you not, they go, okay, do it anyway. For this one lady with her 7-year-old kid, he wants Grand Theft Auto. He's kicking and screaming, wants Grand Theft Auto. That's all he wants to play. Everybody's playing Grand Theft Auto. She brings up, is this game okay for his age? I'm like, ma'am, if you don't mind watching a guy curb stomp a dude's head until he has remnants left on his shoe, and he peels it off, throws it on the ground, and goes, if you're okay with that, then yeah, you know, then get the game for your kid. And the lady said, that's not that bad.
Or like, literally,
what's wrong with you then?
So literally, like, an anal sex scene like, goes down in the game. So like,
it's just hard to. No matter what, and that's why I hate that dumb children outcry. It's like, your kid got the damn game because you bought it. So if you don't like what's in this game, don't buy it for your kids. And if you don't like what's in this game and you are of age, don't buy the game. I don't even know why you were watching a trailer to begin with. So that's why they have the term viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's your fault you saw it. And now, as far as like seeing it on like E3 or something, I understand you're watching E3, you probably don't play those kind of games, and that trailer came on, but even then, if you're a gamer you're watching that, and if you're a gamer and you know what that game would have been anyway, so it still goes back to viewer discretion is advised anyway.
The game is literally called Grand Theft Auto. That's literally a crime.
Yeah,
literally talking about a felony.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is perfect for my 5-year-old, my 8-year-old, my 10-year-old. Like, seriously, knock it off. Like, I don't know. It's
yeah,
weird.
and I guess to end this controversial games thing, I will state, every single bad thing that's happened, and then the media tries to blame it on video games, have all stated, obviously, that video games were not even tied in any connection. The last shooting that happened before the one that the Florida one, stated, because they were like, oh, video games was the reason, blah, blah. They literally looked through his catalog, see what he owned, saw he didn't play games, and the one game that he played was Dance Dance Revolution. How the hell does that make you want to go shoot somebody? So that's when they finally decided to back off.
Have you ever played Dance Dance Revolution?
I'm gonna dance your face off.
And so that's and what really pissed me off with that is that Trump, because apparently he has nothing better to do, met up with main game executives to talk to them about the violence in video games, and didn't tell them it was going to happen. Everybody was so surprised by it. So it's like,
did you see the video that they showed for that too?
No.
Yes, that was
so dumb that I left.
I will tell you, that was some of the stupidest shit that I've ever seen. Like, they picked the absolute like worst parts of a video game and we're showing that off, and it's like, and
they put Fallout 4 in there. Like, shooting someone in Fallout 4 is probably one of the most animated, cartoonish type things. Like, it's.
Well,
I don't know.
It's a post-apocalyptic. Like, after we had a nuclear fallout, we're gonna throw that, and then there's mutants and shit. Yeah, motherfucker, if a mutant is coming at me, I'm gonna shoot him. Like, I'm sorry, if the dude's got a third eye coming out of his forehead, bro, get out of my way. Like, I'm just saying, like, and you start kind of roar, yeah, I'm gonna shoot.
You're getting shot.
You know, but it was just a case of like, you know, and in the defense, you know, and I know it's obviously, you know, I don't know. I thought that whole thing was dumb, and I think that, you know, the video games are even though we are a multi-billion-dollar industry, we are still a very small percent of everything that gets shown. Like, we are not the only ones with violence. If you look at TV shows,
TV has gotten very lenient.
Well, TV. If you look at movies, fuck. I'm all about listening to rap music, but have you heard some of the rap songs that have been out there? Like,
most are pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, come on now, like, let's be slightly realistic about this. We're not the only medium. If you're gonna come after us about violence, you need to jump after everybody else,
right?
You know, and put us all on an even playing field, because it's like, it seems like we are like, anytime violence comes up, man, we are literally the first group of people, you know, and first industry to get thrown under the bus, and it's like, I'm kind of done with it. It's like,
well,
I think just in general, like reaching out to medium and like stuff people consume as like, hey, this innately causes violence. I think historically speaking, people would rather do that, specifically geared towards video games. You know, it's almost like a sin to like be into gaming a little more than the average person now. Like, obviously it's being, you know, actually categorized as a legitimate mental disease, whatever they're gonna end up calling it. But like, I think most people would rather do that than like genuinely examine our society and say, hey, we can improve. They would rather say, nah, video games. Like, wow, this is so stupid.
Well, at the end of the day, as long as they have a scapegoat and a reason to keep their guns, they're going to throw video games and anything else under the bus. So, moving on to the EA shenanigans. I guess the smallest one, the easiest one to mention, is the fact that they finally overhauled and fixed Star Wars Battlefront 2's issues, as far as now there's a better progression system. There's a better progression system. Now loot boxes are going to be purely cosmetic, whatever that means. Guess I hope I get like a pink Darth Vader suit. I don't know. But yeah, they've overhauled Battlefront 2, and anybody that has not played it, because it is a spectacular game in my opinion, I do find it to be fun, especially with friends, I would recommend go pick it up. It's only $30 now. They've destroyed the
actual game.
Yeah, I mean, did they? I was gonna say, I heard that they did the fix, but I mean, I kind of deleted it, so I haven't gone back in to see like what all the changes were. So like, it's actually like legitimately good now, to a point where it's worth the money.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I liked it before, and it's even better now that they've made those fixes. So I do highly recommend it. Everybody should pick it up. Play some Hero versus Villains mode with me.
I still think
I like to
respawns are broken, but that's just me.
Most likely it was Disney pretty much, you know, cracking down on EA, but I like to think that we as consumers kicked them hard enough in the balls to be like, ha, fuck you, and then like they were like, okay, fine, we give up. And then they actually turned it into what people paid for. So
yeah,
that's what drives me so nuts about EA though, is if Disney had not stepped in, they had zero intentions of changing anything. They wouldn't have done it. And how Disney still allows them to carry on that IP drives me insane. As soon as that licensing ends, they need to move on and find someone else to.
Right.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we're gonna keep getting this crap, and they push the boundaries, and hopefully they learn from it. I highly doubt it. But, you know, we'll see.
I think I don't think Disney would have actually said anything to him if what was it called? The Last Jedi wasn't so polarizing. Like, that was it got a lot of hate, got a lot of love, but more importantly, Disney looks at like, okay, why are people hating it? You know, why is the Star Wars brand getting a lot of hate? Then they see Battlefront 2 getting all that flack, and they're like, okay, EA, get it together, because we can't afford much more hate than we already got. So to an extent, I feel like this was pretty lucky.
What I just hope that they start doing is, I hope they start learning to put like the gamer first, like and quit thinking so much about how can we get their money. Think about like, how can we make this game like really fun for the player, really fun, you know, make it worth the consumer's time and money, and not try to fuck them. You know, like that's
Right.
look at what Ubisoft's been doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's why they should always focus on doing cosmetics.
well,
Right.
I'm not even saying just like that. I'm just saying like even just the games as a service, like what's the
Mentality.
thing? Well, a mentality, whatever, you know, like just that as a whole, like Ubisoft has fucking nailed it. Like
Well,
they
it's
have
because they
literally
stick to
nailed it.
one game for a very long time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's not even that.
Games
But
aren't profitable anymore, like in any form.
I think though that they're realizing that it's like, okay, like these people spend $60 on a game, like that's still like a lot of money. Like there's a lot of people out there that can't afford these games over and over and over again, dropping $60 over and over. Like I still consider myself very fortunate that I'm able to get a lot, you know, that I have a job that pays well enough that I can go out and get these games and I can still pay my bills. But it's, you know, I think they sat back and they were like, listen, like $60 is a lot of money to be dropping on a game. Let's increase the longevity of these games by continuing to update them, continuing to make them better. And I mean, it's worked out for them. Look at the Division. The Division,
I don't know if Division
Rainbow
counts
Six
anymore.
Oh, it definitely does.
There's a new one coming out.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, they still did that, you know, as a service. They kept updating it and doing stuff. Same with
Right.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah,
Both
Ghost
of those
Recon,
games,
yeah.
we're seeing higher populations of people playing the game than when they launched, which says a lot for a game.
They need
You
to
know?
pay attention to these PC and indie developers is what they need to do. Because obviously Killing Floor and Payday have been out for a long time and they're still doing stuff with them. And the PC market is where they're actually doing everything right and they're actually keeping one game going on for a very long time. And that goes along with Rockstar too, and the fact that Ubisoft is doing that. And the thing is EA cannot fathom or understand how to make a single game last a very long time, because after even, I mean, Call of Duty suffers the same thing in my opinion. There's so many games, you get annual games when you see you can't make money off of that product anymore because and so what they do now is drop loot boxes, and that's obviously not the way to do it. Releasing regular content, even if you, because unfortunately they all got it, because the term microtransaction came from Microsoft. And the way microtransactions were done back in the day with the Xbox 360 was not anywhere near what they are nowadays. Not even close. Back then you bought little tiny bits of content. That's where the word micro even came in. Little bits of content that extended your game. Like the game Small Arms. If you remember that game, came out at the launch of the Xbox 360. And in Small Arms, that's where they first introduced microtransactions. And they were like, oh, for, what was it, like 75 cents, you get this color for this character. You get this for this character. You get this weapon, or you get this brand new character. And all of the transactions were $3 and under when that first launched. So you were able to expand your game with tiny bits of content, rather than, and in that game specifically, with the amount of points that you have, you were able to earn that character for an hour to use it. And if you liked the character, you could buy it. That's how it was back then, as far as to what it blew up into now. Yeah, what's up?
Since we're speaking about the whole microtransaction thing, I think we may have talked about this on either last episode or the episode before that, but I will still sit back and say that Witcher 3 did it fantastically. Like they, for literally a developer that didn't have a whole lot of experience making games, didn't really have a whole lot of experience with, you know, doing stuff like that. You know, I think it was actually their first game where they did any sort of like a quote-unquote microtransaction or whatever, or paid DLC. They did it super well. Like, all of the cosmetic pieces, when you bought the game, they were like, here you go. Here's different outfits for your characters. You can change that. Here's all this other, like, cosmetic stuff. We're just going to give it to you. And then we're going to charge you, I think it was total, like, $35. And you got one expansion that was, like, 20 hours. And then you got another expansion after that was 30 hours. Like, literally was longer than The Witcher 2. Like, think about that for a second. Like, they gave you so much for your money for a very small price, and you see where they're at now.
Yeah,
I mean,
there are The Witcher 3 did it right, Nintendo did it right with their games. You get a few developers that do it properly, and that's the same deal with Ubisoft with how they're treating that one game that I can't think of right now, Ghost Recon, and same deal with
Siege?
Rainbow Six Siege, even though that game is pissing me off because they're putting game modes on there that don't last, and then they take the game mode off, which is the reason why I bought it. So they kind of lied to me to get my money, but that's not the point.
But the thing is they're, it's still, and again, I'm not a developer. I don't make games, although I'm learning how to. And I'm not like so in depth into the industry where I know this stuff. But it's like I can't wrap my head around the fact that some of these developers are getting it right, and they're doing it properly, and they're not screwing over the people that are buying their stuff, which then in turn puts this developer in the consumer's good graces. And then there's these other developers or publishers or whatever that are just completely just missing the whole thing.
It's the model. It's the model that they base it off of. I mean, you look at, like you said, games as a service, where if you build a game that's going to have longevity, so like Grand Theft Auto, how many times have each of you purchased Grand Theft Auto? Because I know I purchased this 3 or 4 times myself.
Yeah, probably purchased it like 3 times.
Multiple. And the reason I buy it is because there's still
0 times.
There's still a lot of things for me to do for the game that I want to go back and buy the game. There's still plenty of content. The game doesn't get boring for me, and that's how you should model building the games. Like, if you build it with lasting services, lasting, content upgrades, people are going to go buy and purchase the game, and maybe things that go along with it, like those cosmetic loot boxes, which are perfectly fine in my opinion. If you have a whale that's going to spend $4,000 to make his character look cool because he loves the game, by all means, go for it. Then again, what EA did with, actually enhancing what you could do in the game against your competition, completely uncalled for. Mm-hmm. But having a model where you just want to make as much money as possible for the next earnings report, that way your investors and, stockholders look at it and they want to keep investing, that's not the way to look about going at. And I don't know, until they actually realize that, they're going to keep making these games that are going to essentially piss people off.
I think EA it was crazy how they did it. It was just so astonishing because usually with the whole anti-consumer thing, people like us, I could say, more educated consumers sort of look into that stuff and like, okay, I see that they're cutting out content here, but like the more common consumer, Timmy's mom that hopes to pick him up a PlayStation 4 someday, EA actually was so sloppy about it that the more common consumer even knew about practices like these, because there aren't a lot of people that know stuff like this, but EA was just so sloppy with it. I think it's incredibly noteworthy how bad they were with their modeling practices and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know, they're a disappointing company. I remember back in the day with SSX Tour and SSX Online and what, EA Big and Burnout Revenge, just all the original content that they made is all dead.
The original Star Wars. I mean, they did it right. They can't figure shit out on the new stuff. I mean, just look at your old models. I mean, given it was different studios back then that were making it, but
good studios too.
Yeah, it's just like, good lord, man. It's just, when will they learn?
Yeah, now they're making a new Star Wars game, open world. From what I can read, open world type Star Wars game. Maybe an MMO, maybe not. Maybe an answer to the Old Republic, can't really tell you. But what I do know is that they plan on implementing some more of that bullshit into it, because they've kind of already stated through their job posting.
Oh, so. Also, I think I agree with David. I think what he was getting at was like, if you make a solid enough game, you will win the consumer over anyways. Like he said, he's willing to pay $100, rather than the standard $60. Like, how many people would you be able to get like that if you actually made a solid game? So sometimes the best strategy is to just be fair about it. So which we've all kind of touched base. Well, whatever. Which we've all kind of touched base on, because like the longevity of your game is based on, for starters, how good it is, and if you're making us pay for extra content, how long could that content actually keep it going if it's the right price? Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to stick up for these companies, but at the end of the day, I will stick up for the fact that, games don't really make very much money, like, at all. They don't really, you got to sell
a lot. So I understand where they're coming from, and that's why I said cosmetic is the best way to go, because at the end of the day, I actually care whether my character looks cool. I care a lot about visuals in games. And my Warframe fans that are on the channel absolutely fucking hate me for it. I will choose a character because it looks cool and a colors because it looks cool, or a weapon because it looks cool, before I choose something based on its stats. So,
Right.
I mean, that's why I've put so much money into Rocket League. Like, buying their loot boxes and spending the money on the keys and everything doesn't make me a better player, but it's like, I like the cool stuff that you can throw on your car, and I really love the game. I mean, I bought it on the PlayStation Switch wow, I just did the PlayStation Switch. I need to go to bed.
Sony's gonna do it, so
the Nintendo Switch and the Sony PlayStation, like, I bought it for both of those, and I've put a ton of hours and money into both. Every time I get a paycheck, or every couple weeks, I'm like, oh, here's another $5 because I support you guys. I want this game to last for another 3-4 years.
Right.
Maybe it's on me. I don't even care. I'm the reason.
That's a good way to look at it. Like, they've won you over. So, like we were just saying before, any developer that's going to win you over is going to get your money longer than, I'm willing to probably boycott most EA games in the future now.
I think it's just a case of make a good game. Like, even if it maybe doesn't have like the greatest sounding concept or whatever, like, make the game the best you can, and and actually, like, listen to your players, like, listen to your community. I'm not saying you got to take everything that they say to heart, but listen to stuff that they say that, like, hey, this might be something that you might want to add to the game that's going to make it, a little bit better. Test it out in your guys' side first before you bring it out, But it's like, yeah, it's like if you make a good game, more people are going to want to buy it.
More will follow.
Yeah.
More will follow. Yes, Lord, bring on.
Yes.
Microtransactions, Lord Vader. My God. Well, so is there anything else you guys wanted to say about EA before we move on to the last part of the thingamabobber?
No, I'm good. I've got my vent out on them, so I'll stab my voodoo doll later.
The last thing that I can say is I just hope that eventually, whether it's tomorrow or hopefully not too much longer after that, that they just learn their lesson. They look around at the industry and go, okay, what is it that we're doing wrong, and how can we fix this? Because, like I've said before, they got rated as out of every company in the world, okay? Right. They've been labeled the worst employer.
I don't know. I think Comcast is up there too.
But I'm just saying, like, you think of Comcast, and and then you think that EA is even worse than them, and you're just like, what did they have to, like, were they fighting over it? Were they like, no, we're gonna screw over our customers worse, so we want that badge of honor.
Competition.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, God.
I want them to sit back and go, what can we do to make sure that we are never even close to being on that list ever again? Because there's no reason for it. And it just seems like it's time and time again, like, they just keep making the same mistakes, and it's like, let's just stand in front of this revolving door and let's keep getting smacked in the face by the panes of glass that keep flying our way. It's like, and we're just not going to move out of the way. It's like, no, fucking don't be that little retard with the freaking the electric end of the pen and keep pressing your finger to it, knowing damn well you're going to get shocked over and over again, and it's going to hurt like a bitch. Don't just shock there, ooh, that hurt, and then hit it again. No,
sounds
don't
like
do
personal
that.
experience.
Yeah.
This is why I don't develop video games right now. No, seriously, like, just learn your lesson. That's all I gotta say. I don't think EA is that bad of a company. I think that there are obviously a number of games that they make that are really good. Like, I did not think that Battlefield 1 was all that bad, but it's a case of just learn your lesson from Battlefront 2.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, you suck, and give Star Wars up. There you
go. All right, so last part. There aren't very many people here. We will wait 3 minutes to see if anything even happens with this part. The Q&A section. If you guys have any questions at all, definitely shoot them our way. With that being said, because I noticed someone joined right at the end, hilariously enough, Either way, if you guys have any questions for us, shoot them our way. May they be personal or gaming related. Just obviously keep it civil and PG, nothing strange.
Like last time.
Like last time. We shall not mention it, Frailing Noodle Soup. Like we did the last
Yeah.
But either way, shoot your questions our way. And obviously, if it dies down, we will just kind of end the thing we're doing. And your question, since you just asked, Jelly and Jam, every Wednesday we have a thing called PulsChat. It is our live discussion and chat about different things going on in the gaming world. Also, we talk about a few different fun things as well. We do giveaways during, if anybody's actually active enough for me to feel like wanting to do one. But with that being said, it's something we do every Wednesday, close to 7:30 p.m. And yeah, it's a pretty fun deal. It's very upfront with all of you guys, and we also kind of try to include you guys as well if you guys ever have questions or any suggestions, or if you just have something to say about what we're talking about. We definitely note it and point it out. But yeah, hopefully I answered your question. Otherwise, hi. Great introduction for yourself.
Yeah.
So
Let's
that's
say any questions.
My
the
name's
topics
Jeff.
were on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were there. Now it just says Q&A, and
Yeah.
then your lovely face, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I got rid of the topics because as they go on, I get rid of them as they go on, so they're not just kind of looming over there. People kind of know exactly where we are, which is the last part.
You know what would be cool, Andy? Like if as the podcast goes on, if the health bar for the Pokemon actually depleted. And
That
Yeah.
would be cool. I should do that. I can animate that.
yeah, and then like as we're about to end,
It's just gone.
Dead.
I can
Just
animate
dead.
that. That'd be pretty dope. Okay, I like that idea. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'll figure that out after we're done. Are there any more questions before we abruptly end this?
You know, because we haven't had questions really like the last couple times. I actually enjoy having the questions. Like I want somebody to kind of put us on the spot here.
Well,
you
I
know.
mean, it'll pick up eventually somewhere after one.
I hope so, because yeah, I hate like I said. I actually look forward to this part of the topic. Like
why
want
so we
somebody
can
to-
grill you on what games you
Yeah,
have
just
or
grill
have
you on
not
everything
played.
you haven't
I mean,
played.
you guys can grill me on what games I haven't played all day long. I don't even give a shit, to be honest.
have you played everything that you see on the overlay?
Have I played everything that's on the overlay?
So that's Gears of War, Ratchet and Clank, Overwatch, anything Dragon Ball, Sonic, or Mega Man, or Pokemon.
I haven't played any of the recent Dragon Ball games. I played like Budokai 3 and the
That was the best
Budokai
one.
games. Ratchet and Clank, I did play the most recent one because those original ones came out at a weird time, and I was more or less like in the Jack and Daxter thing. But
Ew,
we
boy,
did get a
no.
question.
No. Bury your head in the sand. Jack and Daxter's garbage in comparison to Ratchet and Clank.
You can go
Favorite
fuck yourself
video game?
royally. Jack and Daxter 1 is fucking
Jack
amazing.
and Daxter 1, I had absolutely no fun with that when I streamed it. I was actually bored out of my mind.
Dude, I streamed
God.
it and it brought back
The
fun
best,
memories.
the best Jack and Daxter game is Daxter for the PSP.
God, no.
Yeah, I like that one,
I
bro.
like that one.
No.
I actually like that one, actually.
You guys can both go bury yourselves in holes.
Darkest,
Oh, God.
my favorite single video game. This is obvious for everybody. It's the original Gears of War.
Yeah,
Well, now hold on. What do you mean by like single video game?
just
like,
one video
just
game.
one
I guess.
game.
One video. Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure that I'm answering the question properly.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for me, I guess.
David,
That
The Witcher 3.
Well, you know what? No, I mean,
I'm surprised
I like
he's not gonna say Lawbreaker.
Oh.
Oh,
No, okay, because I did like Lawbreakers. I still do. There's so many games that are coming out that I gotta play. I just haven't been able to get back in to play it. I'm actually gonna say Rocket League because
Okay.
okay, yeah, one game only.
one game for the rest of your life. Yeah,
Rocket League.
Yeah, I'm okay with Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Just because like the replay value is
It's still
Is-
2-player
what Rocket League.
Sonic.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying like Rocket League in and of itself. Like every single time I jump in, like it's the same. The concept's the same as far as just scoring a goal, but the game gets so much deeper than that into like how you can score a goal, and every single time is different. So it is by far like my favorite game of all time. I've put probably 1,000 hours into that game, and that's across 2 consoles. I've never played any game that long.
I mean, Gears 1, the reason I could take that one first, that one was just like, you know, I did that when I played, you know, I was on the MLG circuit for Gears 1 and did all that stuff with it. But like the custom matches, like that's like going back out in like the backyard, like playground with like the younger kids, and like everyone kind of knew who each other were. So like all like the top ranked people would join in custom matches, and you would just hop in, and I don't know, it was just like throwing that challenge with the shotgun, just give him the old melee bump like out there, and everyone just knew what that was about. So I don't know, I have good memories of that game.
I'll probably go with like Sonic Adventure 2, or like maybe one of the Smash Brothers, probably Smash 4.
That'd be a good choice. I could live with that. I could
Smash
live
Bros.
with that. If I was
Like,
stuck
some
on an
games you
island
just
with
never
one
get
game, I
tired
think
of.
I could go with, yeah.
But see, Smash Bros has like the same thing as far as like Rocket League goes. Like the concept is literally like you're just, you know, ending somebody's, you know, cartoon life or whatever. But every single time you go in there and play it, like it's something different. So I'm right there with you.
But Smash is way better than Rocket League.
Wait, what? Yeah. That's I'm not even gonna say anything on that, because that is comparing 2 totally different games. You can't even compare them.
If they put the Rocket League car in Smash, I'd kick its ass.
If they put the Rocket League car in Smash, I would beat your ass. With
Wait,
the car.
here's the main question: Does the car get a ball to throw at you too?
No, that's the special.
It's the ultimate. So then the car is just a car.
And if you're me, does it get a hockey puck? Because I can't do the ball. I have to play with the hockey puck. So
yeah, if you're the ball, Kevin will miss every single time he activates.
I can't
the
score.
Oh
I suck really bad.
Devin, the floor could be a goal, and you'd still find a way to miss it.
This is true. This is true. I was bad at soccer too, so it's just natural, man. Like I'm gonna be bad. I suck at FIFA too, so like I don't take any offense.
Don't let him fool you. I played Rocket League with him. You're not that bad.
I'm pretty
awful at it. You never want to see me play. It's like playing with a prepubescent 3-year-old.
David, I don't think I've ever scored a goal like playing with you, like ever.
Oh, you did.
I have to play against computers if I want to score.
Well, yeah, because I'm not taking your ass into the competitive playlist. Fuck that.
Oh, no, because I'll drop you down to Wood 5 real quick.
Wood 5.
All right, guys. Were there any more questions before we end the Pulse chat? Any questions at all? And we're going to be ending it in like a minute, if not. And not a question from a moderator.
Okay.
One video game that ever wish existed.
We won't go into depth. I just want to say one game.
What?
Sonic. I'm just kidding.
Sonic 06?
That's actually a good question, though.
Wow. That you never wish existed. This is the last question we're going to answer then.
Yeah, I was going to say,
actually,
question.
the last Sonic that I watched you rage over, yeah, I'd guarantee you that's it for you. I watched you get upset, like extremely upset. I've never seen you so angry.
Who, me?
Yeah, over that Sonic.
That game was terrible!
I've never seen you so angry at a video game.
Boy, Sonic Forces needs to burn. That is the worst video game ever created in the history of video games that I've ever played in my fucking life.
Wow.
Period. That was such an awful game. I felt like I was lied to and slapped in the face by Sega. Sonic games always typically come out on or around my birthday. November 10th is the official day for a Sonic game, if not 11th. So every time a Sonic game comes out, I am excited. I get it on or around my birthday. And they're typically phenomenal games. I have never disliked a Sonic game before. I even like Sonic Boom and Sonic 06. I found things to like in those 2 games. This is all upon my own opinion as a true-to-the-heart Sonic fan, unlike most of these people that think they are. I found reasons to like them. I found the core things that kept me playing those games. Sonic 06 was not that great, but overall running around in that world was pretty fun. It was as close as you could get to a Sonic Adventure game. A new Sonic Adventure game. So it was fun to run around and just experience it for what it could have been, you know? And Sonic Boom, the same difference. Experience it for what it could have been. I've always wanted a co-op beat-em-up style adventure Sonic game, and I got it. Whether it was executed properly or not, they still tried. and I still, you know, saw the good in the game. It was more of like I walked through a beta and what the game could have been before they canceled it. Is how I saw that game. And
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And I enjoyed it for what it was. And if they stuck around long enough to make another one, I can guarantee you it probably would have been either good or at least passable. But with Sonic Forces, they literally said, we have our A team. We got the people that made the Sonic Colors, the people that made Sonic Generations. We got the people that made Sonic Adventure 2. We got those guys all together in a team to make a phenomenal game. We're like, okay, cool. They showed us a trailer. Looks great. The music that they put out multiple times before the game came out. Mind-blowing. Best soundtrack in most video games I've ever heard in my life. Probably my second favorite after Nier Automata. The game came out. It was absolute shit. The boost engine was garbage. Everything was wrong with that game. The physics were bad. The boost engine was bad. The story was bad. The fact that Classic Sonic was there, I was completely confused as to why the character was there to begin with. Like, everything was wrong with that game. And to top it all off, each level took about 36 seconds to beat. I beat that game.
And the Avatar was like a terrible gimmick.
Yeah, I beat that game in under 2 hours. I can't even beat Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that quick. So it's like, fuck that game. Yeah, I wish that game didn't exist. Period. Fuck Sega for that one. I don't even trust them anymore.
I hit a nerve, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, I have struck a nerve.
I fucking hate
I was gonna
that
say,
game.
I'm like, Jesus.
You know,
went
Shadow
on
the
a
Hedgehog was
tangent.
the only.
I lost 26 subscribers for putting my opinion out on that game.
Yeah, I
last time when it
remember
came
that.
out. Yeah.
I remember that.
And I was like, and all of them can go fuck themselves. You guys weren't alive long enough to have an opinion. So that's just where I stand on that game.
King
Fuck that
O's,
game.
period.
It's so bad.
Go Saints, not really. Go Titans.
It is not. It
I'll
is not
that
cool.
note.
Like God.
I
Well,
agree with like.
so good.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay. I kind of agree with like Sonic 06. Like there are definitely some likable aspects, and it is kind of fun to think like what could it have been. So I think that's like the only Sonic game with like an open world to like sort of explore, I guess, like a hub world and like side quests and stuff like that. Like that idea is cool, but yeah, the game is not. It doesn't really hold up.
Yeah, 'cause Sonic fans trigger the shit out of me. Like, oh, Sonic 06 is a shitty game, even though they're always playing it and they're still playing it. They talk the mad shit and they still play the damn game. And what makes it worse, they talk the mad shit, they say how bad the game is, and they port all the stages to Sonic Generations. They say how bad the game is, and they recreate the game, release the game, people play it and go, this is what it should have been, this game's amazing. I'm like, so I played it. It's exactly the same fucking game. So it's like, is it really that bad? If people are still playing it? Because I really don't think so. Like, so, at the end of the day, Sonic fans can go fuck themselves.
Devin,
That's
did you
a
pick
fan-
a game?
I'm a part of a fan base
Did I-
that I
did I beat
regret
what
to be
game?
in.
Did you pick a game that you wish didn't exist?
Oh, no, I was just striking a nerve.
Probably.
That's all that. That's all.
I'm gonna, just judging by the three of you, I'm gonna say, David, the game that you would not want to exist at all in this world is
This world.
You're such a loser. Damn, I guess that might be hard for you. It's easier for Devin. Devin, you could easily say that you don't want Gears of War Judgment to be a thing.
I didn't play Judgment. That was the only one that I hadn't
Okay,
played.
okay. If we're talking, you are right and wrong. If we're talking multiplayer, I wouldn't want 4, but I want 4 because of the story. Like, if you could take out the like, do I want Gears of War 4 multiplayer? Hell no. I wish that never existed. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. The story I like, so it's just one of those catch-22s. But Judgment, yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I don't know. I wish it would just stay original Gears of War 1 all the way through. Just like, no more. Give me the story, but keep the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And all its shittiness and bugs all the way through.
Well, I'd say it's Metroid Other M, the story mode, not the actual gameplay itself.
Okay. Yeah.
I almost want you guys
No,
to guess which
actually-
games I hate.
Are you
Actually-
wait, hold on, are you a Minnesota fan, David?
Yeah.
Bye, I'm out.
Actually, I wish Super Mario Odyssey never existed.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
I gotta hear this.
I was gonna hear you
I'm just
out.
kidding.
I wasn't gonna call you wrong. I was gonna hear you out because there are things that honestly I didn't care about, but
I just had to hear why. I thought they were serious.
Devin's like, I was gonna
No,
pick the game
it's like my
up.
favorite game ever right now. No, I really want to hear the reaction to that. That was satisfying. Well, I guess like it does have some things, like maybe the motion controls for like certain actions. Like if you want to get the maximum efficiency for like rolling, you kind of have to shake. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's
I agree with that.
Motion control shouldn't be forced on anybody in any game, in which I'm eating my own words because I was upset that Breath of the Wild didn't have true motion control for the sword like it did in Skyward Sword. I felt like that was a step backwards, in my opinion. I consider that a step backwards. You gave me full control of my sword, and you didn't give it back to me in the next game? No. No. They should let me
control. That's a very
it.
interesting opinion.
Yeah, because Link was a very shitty swordsman in that game compared to all of them. His swordsmanship was terrible in that game. They should have given me control of the sword.
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild Link. He just swings that shit back and forth. He had no real talent for swinging a sword in that game.
Yeah, I'll agree. Like, I enjoy the sword play on the other ones more than I do Breath of the Wild. Now that I can actually have this opinion. I couldn't about a month ago, but...
Alrighty. So I guess, guys, everybody that's at the
hold
PulsChat.
on.
Oh, well, what's up, Grandma? Oh, yeah, we gotta guess yours. I'm sorry, Grandma.
Man.
I think the one game that you do not want to exist at all, whether it be for multiplayer, story, or mechanics, I would guess it would be...
If you guess this, I'm gonna freaking I will walk out.
I got it. I'm gonna give my guess, and then you give yours, Andy.
Okay, first narrow it down to a console.
PC.
Fuck.
Like, where is the one in your mind being played?
I will tell you, I picked it up for the PlayStation 4.
Ah,
Okay,
damn.
so it's a multi-plat.
I'm gonna say Prey.
I hated that game.
There were things that I liked about that game, and I think I'm actually gonna one of these days I'm gonna go back and replay it because they did fix that one part that I was stuck on.
You're gonna say Skyrim because there's too many iterations of it and it needs to die and they need to make a new one.
Nope, because I actually really liked Skyrim.
Okay, I had no idea. You're not as much of an open book as I guess him because there's like multiple Gears of War games and it's very easy to point Judgment out as the worst one.
Will, do you want to throw your hat in the ring on this one?
The Witcher 2. No, I have no
Witcher 2 because it was so damn lenient.
It's not 3, so I hate it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I actually have no clue.
I'm gonna say No Man's Sky.
Oh,
I
should have known that.
The thing is that a true gamer forgot about that. No, I'm just kidding. I forgot all about that game because it deserves to be forgotten.
I will tell you that I was super amped when that game came out. I was like, oh my god, like I get to go and explore, like this is gonna be awesome. And it was, oh, here's your ship, fly to this planet, get resources for your fuel, fly to these other 2 planets. Oh, your fuel's out, you have to search for more. That's literally all you did till you got to the quote-unquote center of the universe, which there was nothing there. Like I literally, I sat back and I watched a video because I was like, I'm not going to fucking play this game anymore. I watched a video of what happens in the end of the game, and it was so anticlimactic, it wasn't even funny. Like, if a star would have exploded, I would have gotten more joy out of that than what they actually gave you. And I even, like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold on to the game. Maybe after they do some updates or whatever, I'll jump back in. I waited till they did all these major updates, supposedly made the game 100 times better. Everybody was like, man, this game's so much better. You can jump back into it. I jumped back into it. I was like, the same fucking thing, people. Nothing's changed. Now you can ride a rover around on the planet. Thank God, because that's what was missing. Like, it's just like, I liked the concept that they had of these procedurally generated, planets that you could go to, and like the fact that I could name shit and discover all these different species.
I dubbed the David World.
Yeah, like I literally like because I'm a huge Kind of Funny fan, kind of casual.
Oh my god.
I was naming planets. I was like, oh, here's the Kind of Funny planet, and I was naming just bullshit stuff that you're gonna do because you can.
Like Planet Queefus.
I didn't go that far.
I did.
But it was like, yeah, like I thought it would. To be honest with you, if they would have had a thing where I could have joined up with a friend, it may have made that game a little bit better. But
you could. You'd find a little orb.
Yeah.
This is an unpopular opinion, but like I feel the exact same way about Sea of Thieves, and I know some people disagree with me, but
I was literally gonna say that.
That's how I feel about it, and I would almost go as far to say that I wish that game never existed, but I don't, only because I see potential. But I don't think that game's good.
And that's what I was gonna say too. Is it is sadly reminding me of Sea of Thieves, where it's like if like when you're playing with some people, like right in the start, it seems like it's really interesting because you don't know everything that they offer. But then when you finally see that it's literally you just doing the same thing over and over, and there's no
It kind of
real.
makes you wonder why it took them so long to make it.
Yeah, I heard an awesome someone said the reason they didn't put a tutorial in there is that'd probably be about the best amount of story they had in the entire game.
Damn.
It's true though. I mean, like once you kind of figure out, you literally it's either fetch quests like, hey, go to this island, find this treasure, bring it back, or go get bananas, go get this. It's the same shit, and then the Kraken is just very boring. So I don't know. Like there's a lot. I love the idea of pirates. I love the idea of sailing with friends. I love the PvP combat aspect of it. Even though the PvP in the game sucks ass.
Yeah.
I don't know, the potential's there, and it's a beautiful looking game. I think so, but I just don't know what the hell happened.
Ubisoft is already making a game that's coming out soon that already makes Sea of Thieves look stupid because Microsoft showed that game off, and then 4 other pirate games were shown off right after.
Oh, God, what was that called? I remember seeing that at E3.
I don't remember the name of it, and there's already one that's out on Steam in early access, so it's like they're already.
But
the combat in Black Wake is much better than the combat in Sea of Thieves, but like Black Wake looks like shit.
Well, it's just a case of they have a nice foundation for a game. They need to throw other things in there other than doing these fetch quests. Like you said, Devin, it's literally like the most exciting thing that you do is sailing your boat. Like I love the communication when you get a group of 4 people and you're all in the same party with mics and you're like, hey, okay, can do we have any boats out in the
sails and starboard, that kind of shit? Like it's a ton of fun.
Like and trying to like plot shit on the map and get the sails right at the right height and the right angle and everything. That's a lot of fun. And when you start going through like a storm, like it's that is probably the highlight of that game. But then it's like when you get to the oh, let me grab this treasure chest. Okay, you put it back on the boat. You do that 4 or 5 times. After a while, you're just like, I'm done.
The beta was more fun than the actual game because in the beta, we actually literally had to look for treasure and actually have to follow like a specific schematic to do something specific. And there was like a one that we did where we actually had to find these levers to open a door that went further underground and stuff. And I didn't see any of that in the real game.
Go ahead, David.
I was going to say, I think that absolutely, and Devin, you can attest to this, I'm sure, the most fun that I had playing that game was when you, me, and my buddy Kenny were playing, and we joined up with this is so funny, I'm sorry. I have to tell this story. So we were like, okay, let's back out and jump back in because they have a glitch right now, and I don't know if it's still there, but like if you completed a quest, you weren't getting the gold. Like, the gold wasn't happening, your reputation wasn't increasing, you'd have to actually back out of the game and jump back into it in order to get that stuff. So we decided to do that. Well, when we did that, we forgot to set it up for just us 3, so we ended up joining this random kid. Well, Devin's sitting here, me, Kenny, and Devin are all in like a party chat, but Devin can hear this other person talking, and Devin's like, oh my God, this kid sounds like he's 13. So
those were like 7. I don't know. He was like super. It was super annoying to listen to, and like I just had enough. And that's when we realized we could access the brig.
Oh my God! So we lock this kid in the brig, and we all jump out of the party chat so we can listen to. He's like, guys, like, why did you lock me in the brig? Like, this isn't fun. And so then, because you could fill up your tankard with alcohol and just drink to your heart's content, we all started drinking until all of our characters are literally just swaying back and forth. And then if you sway back and forth enough, like, your character will literally throw up. This poor child,
This is so bad.
we were all just puking our character's guts out all over this poor child. And then you just hear him go, you just hear him go, hey guys, my screen's all green again.
You guys are mean. Oh my god.
Oh god.
No, but it gets even better too, because then, like, after, and this went on for probably like 15 minutes. I felt so bad after a while, and I was like, okay, guys, like, we can let him out of the brig. Let's, like, actually not, completely scare this kid away from playing this game. And then Devin goes, so can you guys access, like, your pause menu? And me and Kenny are both like, yeah. And Devin goes, yeah, I can't. And we're like, oh no, like, this poor kid's locked in the fucking brig, like, the entire time.
So they're like, there was a glitch going on with the PC to where, like, I couldn't access my settings, and you have to go to my crew and let him out of the brig, and you have to have a majority vote, and I couldn't vote. So I'm like, I'm trying to get you out, bro, but, like, you're kind of stuck in there. So we had to leave, and I don't know if you get out when everyone else leaves the party, but I hope so.
But it was just like, that was probably the most fun. Like, I laughed so hard playing that, but it's like, after that, it's like that game just, it doesn't have any context. Maybe after, give it a year or whatever, jump back into it, see what else they've added to it.
Oh, it's going to be dead after a year. Microsoft is doing a great job of killing off anything they do.
Why?
I'm expecting Crackdown 3 to be the worst game they've ever made.
Well, here's why I'm worried.
That's what I'm expecting.
It's coming to Games Pass, and that's what worries me. I'm afraid they're going to start putting these games on Game Pass, and it's going to start diluting the quality of the games, and just to try to rush them out. And I don't know. I really hope that's not the case, because it's been in development for forever, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
I have no hope for them. Everything they come out with now that's not
like an independent studio, like
yeah.
making it in
If it's
corroboration.
a Microsoft-made game, and I'm not talking about, like, State of Decay, because I'm actually looking forward to that one. That's not being made by Microsoft. It's just something that's exclusive to them. If it's made by Microsoft, it's going to suck. And that's just how it's going to be now. I have no expectations for them to do
Well,
that.
they're having their biggest E3 ever, so
Well,
we'll see
we're
how
going
that
to
goes
see
out.
some very nice cars again. So
No,
Yes.
I will tell you.
Take a look at this Bugatti, and it goes fast in a video game.
I will tell you.
Sexy car.
I will tell you that just because they say, like, the biggest E3 ever doesn't mean anything. Like, they might just have, like, as far as, like, their actual size, because they're doing it at the Microsoft Theater this year. They're not actually doing it at the place where everybody else is.
yeah,
So
they're pulling
it might be.
Nintendo, and they're doing it wrong.
Well, they're doing it, like, right across the street, and it's like, why? Just so you can say that you had your own venue? Like,
yeah.
Well,
whatever.
the
Well,
venue
they've
has.
got to have a bigger house for, like, more cars to fill it.
Well,
up.
yeah, we're
Well,
showing
don't-
off 2 cars this year.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't when Sony did their big blowout one when they had like the orchestra and all that stuff, weren't they in their own venue for that?
Yeah, but
Oh,
Sony
word.
still did well.
Yeah, but well, I mean,
And
Sony's
didn't have a
always-
car.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe they just need to like. Maybe they just need to get like Talladega and just like race cars around the track, and then you'll get a bunch of NASCAR fans there, and they might start liking video games and they'll sell stuff. I don't know.
Well,
Who knows?
All right, I guess this is where we are going to end this thing. Because we went on for an extra 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, boy. All right, guys, thank you for joining our third Pulse Chat. Obviously, every Wednesday is when we're going to be doing this. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out and all that jazz. And I will see all of you peoples and stuffs and things laters and stuff.
Real
Seems like a
quick,
great
though,
outro.
don't
Oh,
go
what?
into it just yet.
Yes,
I was gonna
Rachel.
say I want to start having like a closing thing. So like if people who are on here that don't know like where to find us or whatever, like that they can.
I would, but seeing as though the 5 people that are here, it's almost pointless. We'll save that for EGD 2.0.
Okay.
Either way, guys, I have food downstairs and I'm eating.
That's all he has to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is Evo, and he is out.
Bye.
Welcome to Pulse Chat.
EGD and Sick Critic News. Join in!